Right, I'm just making a video about the 2030 petrol and diesel ban on selling new cars. You speak to people about this, and people don't seem to realise that in 2030 you won't be able to buy a new petrol or diesel car. I think a lot of people aren't bothered because they won't buy a new car, full stop. But obviously, you know, if you're buying second-hand cars, you know, at some point it's going to affect you, isn't it? You know, if you're used to buying a car that's 3 years old or 4 years old, you know, by sort of like 2033 or 2035, then it will be affecting you because you'll be going to a car supermarket going, oh, I want to buy a new Ford Focus that's 3 years old, and they'll go, oh, sorry, sir, they stopped making them, 5 years ago. You what? What are you talking about? So that's what I want to talk about. And I recently I took the car into Stoneacre for a service, and I was talking to one of the dealers. I was looking around new Mazdas, and I was talking to one of the salesmen in the sales office, and I said, "Oh, what are Mazda doing about electric cars and electric cars in their range?" And he said nothing. He said we've had meetings. They've been to head office Mazda, and what Mazda are saying is they're saying they're a small company and they can't afford to decide to go all electric if it's not happening. They don't believe that in 2030 the UK will go all electric. So basically, what they're saying is we're not bothering. We're going to carry on producing petrol cars, diesel cars. We'll get to 2030 and we'll see what happens. Which this got me thinking. I thought to myself, you know, I reckon we're looking at a change of government in 2029, right? And I would say any party that's coming in, you know, like Conservative Manifesto or Nigel Farage's party that might come in their manifesto ideas, they're probably going to turn around and say, oh, we're not doing the petrol ban. You know, you can have petrol cars for another 10 years or something like that. And that is what I think will probably happen. I mean, the Conservatives might go, oh, we'll do 5 years or we'll do 7 years. You know, maybe UKIP might go, oh, we're doing it for 10 years. That's what I think. Now, I think when you think about this 2030 petrol ban, I thought my thoughts on this are that garages will have fields full of pre-registered cars. I think in 2030, like all these garages, main dealers will go, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to register a shitload of cars, stick them in a field, put no miles on them, and then that'll give us some stock for 2 or 3 years. That's what I think they're going to do. And I think a lot of people will probably think to themselves, if there is a ban, if it is happening, they'll probably think, right, I'll buy a new petrol car in 2030. Now, I think you've got a problem with that because I'm just reading here on the internet, right, and this is about Stellantis. And what they're saying is Stellantis Group, which they own Vauxhall, Citroen, Jeep, Peugeot. I think that's it. And what they're saying is because of the government mandate on zero emission cars. So what the government's doing at the minute is a car manufacturer is required that 22% of their new vehicle sales are EVs. So at the minute, you're still allowed to sell petrol cars, but 22% of your sales must be EVs. If you fail to meet this 22% target, that means that every car you sell, there is a £15,000 penalty on that car, and an £18,000 penalty on a van if it's non-electric. Right. So what a lot of the manufacturers are doing now is, I think maybe by 2027, they'll go completely electric because they don't want to pay the penalties. I know I was reading, obviously Ford have got rid of the Ford Mondeo, and they've got rid of the Ford Fiesta, and they reckon that within about a year the Ford Focus will be no more, so you won't be able to buy a Ford Focus. So I think anybody that thinks to themselves, I'm going to buy a new petrol car in 2030 and there'll be loads about blah, blah, blah. I think your choice of cars, you might be able to buy a Mazda, but I think your choice of cars will be so limited to what you can buy, that it'll just be a waste of time. Do you know what I mean? I think in reality, I think if you were thinking about buying a petrol car and running it, you'd probably be better off buying it, now or 2026 or 2027, before all these cars disappear. I know, like when you look at like Renault and things like that. Obviously, like Renault are bringing out they've brought out an all-electric Renault 5. I think there's a Renault Twingo. So what I'm saying, like manufacturers like Renault, it'll be the same, won't it? But I reckon by 2027, all the cars will be gone. Everything will be electric. Do you know what I mean? Personally, I've not got a problem with it. I know a lot of people go, "Oh, I don't want an electric car. I don't want an electric car." And my views on it is that it'd be fine for me, for the whole year. Trips out, going to work. I wouldn't have a problem. I'd only have a problem maybe 2 weeks summer holiday where we're travelling somewhere. If we were travelling to the Isle of Wight or we were travelling to Scarborough or somewhere like that, where I'd be forced to use a mega expensive charger on a service station or something like that. And you think to yourself, so what? It doesn't matter, does it? You know what I mean? So I think for myself, I'd happily have an electric car. Now, when I was talking to this salesman in this car dealership, his thoughts on it was that people would have 2 cars. So instead of whatever you're running now, instead of trading that in and then buying an electric car, what he's saying is he thinks that people will carry on with their existing car. If they've got like an 18 plate petrol Focus, and they'll go, yeah, we'll keep that, stick it on the drive, and then go out and buy an electric car, use the electric car every day. And then if you've got to go on a long trip, you go, oh, we'll use the Focus, and that you're not putting many miles on it. And something like on Friday, I was in Doncaster, and I jumped in a taxi, and this taxi driver was using a Fiat Tipo. And they're a pretty crap car. I don't know if they're made in like Slovenia or somewhere like that. They're made Eastern European. They're a pretty crap car. And I said to him, how many miles have you got on this then? He goes, 150,000. And it was a 1.4 petrol, 150,000. And I said, and he goes, oh, another 50,000 and I'll scrap it. And I said, oh, what would you do? Get a new car? He goes, no, what I'll do is get a recon engine. And that got me thinking as well. I remember I was talking to this car dealer about this. And I remember going to the car auctions when I was like 18 or something like that. And I'd be looking at cars, like MG Maestros and MG Metros and things like that. And the cars had come through the auction, but maybe like every, I don't know, 30 cars or something like that, you would open the bonnet up and then you'd be presented with a gold engine. And some of these, every maybe 30 cars or something like that, you'd get like a gold seal reconditioned engine. And again, I thought to myself, is that something that people will do? You know, people will run old petrol cars and go, right, I'm going to run this for 20 years. And then, you know, in 10 years' time, they'll go, oh, then that might be something that comes back. People having recon engines. So that's all I'm doing for now. That's just my quick chat about the 2030 petrol ban. Cheers, bye!